rain poured down relentlessly, drumming against the windshield like 1,000 tapping fingers of fate. The road twisted like a snake along the edge of the cliff, slick with water and shadow. Inside the car, tension was thick, almost unbearable. Darren gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white with frustration. Beside him, Juliet sat with tears brimming in her eyes, her voice trembling with the weight of their argument. "Do you even care anymore, Darren?" she asked, her voice low, wounded. "Juliet, this isn't the time," Darren muttered, trying to keep his eyes on the road. "Let's just get home." But the words were brittle, and the silence that followed was colder than the rain outside. The windshield wipers worked furiously, barely managing to keep up with the downpour. Then, in a flash, a blur of headlights. A truck was coming straight at them. Darren swerved sharply, tires screeching across the wet pavement. The car spun out of control, skidding dangerously close to the cliff's edge. Time slowed. Juliet screamed. The guardrail shattered. The vehicle plummeted into the abyss. 30 minutes later, Darren awoke to a world of pain and chaos. Rain leaked through the broken windows. The air was thick with the scent of gasoline, blood, and earth. His vision swam as he turned his head, wincing from sharp pain. Then he saw Juliet, motionless beside him, her head resting awkwardly against the shattered glass. "Juliet," he rasped, his voice hoarse. He reached over, trembling, trying to rouse her. No response. "Juliet! Wake up!" he shouted, panic rising in his chest. He fumbled for his phone, fingers slippery with blood. With one desperate swipe, he dialed for an ambulance. His voice cracked as he gave the location, his screams almost lost in the storm. At the hospital, everything felt surreal. The fluorescent lights were too bright, the beeping of machines too sharp. Darren sat alone in a sterile hallway, wrapped in a blanket, his clothes still soaked. Nurses passed by. No one met his gaze. A doctor finally approached, eyes full of restrained sorrow. "We did everything we could," the doctor began gently. Darren didn't need to hear the rest. The world around him crumbled. His chest caved with a silent scream. Juliet, his Juliet, was gone. The next morning, Darren stood at her grave beneath a gray sky. The earth was still fresh, the tombstone bare and new. He knelt, placing a single white lily at the base. His fingers lingered on the damp stone. "I'm sorry," he whispered, voice breaking. He didn't remember walking back, but somehow he found himself at the train station, surrounded by strangers. His phone buzzed softly in his pocket. He pulled it out and opened the gallery. Photo after photo of Juliet filled the screen. Smiles, laughter, memories. A life that no longer was. Tears streamed down his face. He couldn't stop them anymore. Meanwhile, in a quieter part of town, a young mother named Beck was helping her daughter, Quinn, pack. Quinn was bright-eyed and full of nervous energy, preparing to move to the city for college. Her room was cluttered with clothes, books, and excitement. "I think I need a new suitcase," Quinn said with a grin. Beck smiled warmly. "Go ahead. Just be careful on the road." Quinn hugged her mother tightly before climbing onto her Vespa. The city streets welcomed her with a buzz of life, but the skies still threatened rain. At a luggage shop downtown, Quinn picked out a sleek navy suitcase and paid at the counter. As she exited the store, a truck roared around the corner, tires screeching. Quinn barely had time to react. She swerved her scooter and crashed onto the sidewalk, pain shooting through her ankle. Bystanders rushed over. An ambulance arrived. Hours later, her leg was wrapped, and her pride slightly bruised, but she was okay. 3 days passed. Quinn returned home with crutches and a limping step. Her mother welcomed her with open arms and tears of relief. That night, they talked long into the evening, laughter mingling with concern. "I'll still go," Quinn insisted. "It's just a twisted ankle. Nothing's stopping me." The next morning, she hailed a taxi to the train station, suitcase in tow. Navigating the stairs was a struggle. Each step sent sharp jabs through her ankle. Just as she reached for the railing, a voice behind her said, "Let me help you." She turned, startled. A man, tall, disheveled, eyes tired yet kind, reached down, picked up her suitcase, and carried it up the stairs without waiting for an answer. Thank you," she stammered, hobbling after him. He turned around, and before she could say more, he scooped her into his arms. She gasped, cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "You don't need to hurt yourself trying to be strong," he said gently. Once they reached the top, he set her down on a bench and smiled. "Thank you so much," she said again, a bit breathless. "It's nothing," he replied softly. "Maybe I'm doing something good, for both of us." Before she could ask his name, he was already hurrying toward his train. As he reached the platform, he pulled out his phone. A photo of Juliet lit up the screen. His smile returned, faint but sincere. There was something about that girl, Quinn, that reminded him of Juliet. Not in appearance, but in spirit. The way she carried herself. The fire in her eyes.